Jack Bender,
Yes.
executive producer, director,
Yes.
Lost extraordinaire. Welcome to the Lost Initiative.
It's good to be here.
How are you, sir? Are you well?
I'm well.
Fantastic. We start with the incident, an amazing finale. Congratulations on a
Thank you.
phenomenal finale. And what was your first reaction when you received that script and had to break that down?
My first reaction was, holy how are we going to do this? No, actually what happened was, because it was toward the end of the season, so there was a, we got the script late because they have less and less time as the season progresses to get us the scripts. And I had a detailed outline in terms of the events of the story. So we were able to start prepping things like the massive conclusion at the construction site where the drill was. I knew that there were three major elements to that. I knew there were the scenes and the acting leading up to Jack arriving there with the bomb. Then there was the shootout, getting Jack in position to drop the bomb as our team comes running in, driving in to help him. And then there was the dropping of the bomb and the event that occurred afterwards. And basically I got our team together and said, okay, listen, this is overwhelming. Originally, the whole thing was scheduled in 3 days or something absurd like that. And I said, there's no way we're gonna do this. I mean, we really need 2 days for the acting part and those scenes. Then we need 2 days for the, 1 day for the shootout, 1 day for the dropping of the bomb, and 2 days or 3 days for the aftermath. So I said, look, let's just put our heads together and make each, I'll keep the overview in mind. I'll be the conductor. I'll make sure it ends up all like one movie. Let's just approach each one of these sections like a different movie. And we got all our different participants and the team around us, visual effects, special effects, and said, okay, how do we make this as good as it needs to be? How do we, but that's the way I approach every episode of Lost. You know, we get these amazing recipes.
And the time travel aspect of season 5, fascinating to have that really come to the front now, and really beautifully done, the transitions, all the time travel happens on the show. What discussions occurred around that time when you knew you had to actually shoot that and portray that in the end?
Well, there were a couple of things. When I did The Constant, which was one of our first episodes with Ian Cusick, that with Desmond, that dealt with going in and out of time. I never wanted Lost from the beginning. When we were even dealing with flashbacks, which seems a long time ago and very simplistic, but it wasn't at the time. I never wanted our flashbacks to look different or flashbacky. For The Constant, which dealt with Desmond's mind jumping in different places, it was different because that's what was happening to the character. So when I came up with the idea in thinking about it after having all the bad ideas, and I was discussing it with Damon and Carlton, I said, if he is in that helicopter that's starting to rock, and he grabs the side of the seat, and then we see him grabbing the bed in the army barracks, and he wakes up holding what he thinks is a helicopter, but it's actually a bed, and he's suddenly in the army, then the character is displaced. When we dealt with it this past season, going in and out of time, myself and the other directors, we all tried to filmically deal with it in an honest way. We decided not to give the Dharma days a brighter, peppier 80s look or 70s or whenever. I could never keep track of the time. I don't know what year it is now. So, I mean, the joke in my family is I never know what month it is, what year it is, or whatever. And when
But you work on Lost, that must
well, no, it's
complicate
crazy.
issues.
I mean, we sit in production meetings and our prop master says, who's very good at keeping all that in order, you know, Locke had a gun in 1977, or whatever year it was. And I go, what? He says, well, the last time we saw Locke, he was holding a gun in his backpack in this episode and I said, oh my God, and what year was that? And they say 2005, or they say 19, whatever they, and I go, I'm so glad you guys are smarter than I am, because if it was up to me, it would be a mess. And so between the geniuses in Los Angeles and a few geniuses I have around me in Hawaii, we keep time and place pretty together.
I know that Adam and Eddie on the show love the Dharma stuff, and obviously Namaste, which is one of your episodes this year, and what did you enjoy most about how the Dharma mythology has evolved and has become, you know, it's obviously always been, you know, part of the show very strongly, but it's changed a lot this season. We've seen more.
Well, it was interesting. I mean, when we started the season, all of us, Damon and Carlton and the rest of us, were a little, is this going to work? You know, keeping so much of the show landlocked in the 70s Dharma initiative. And thank God, Roland Sanchez, our brilliant costume designer, you know, we stayed away from the ridiculous big collars and making it look like, you know, the Partridge Family. So we were a little concerned as to whether the audience would buy it and it would work. And the idea of Foxy, Matthew Fox, walking around in, you know, the Dharma jumpsuit, and Matt loved it. He just loved it. He loved the fact that his character didn't have to try as hard. Not didn't have to act as hard, because Matthew shows up acting his heart out every day. But just let go somewhat.
You could feel that, I think, this season.
Yeah, the actors really embraced it. And ultimately, like every road our show has gone down, and it starts with our writers. It starts with Damon and Carlton figuring out what's going to be the arc of the season. Every road we've gone down, even if it feels like, you know, even if the critics or whoever go, oh, they're going downhill, this is never going to come back, it always comes back, and it always pays off. And it's nice that the 5th season did.
Absolutely.